So here is like three skills outside of, that persuasion guide talks about the different parts of, you know, parts of copywriting that will make you a better writer. I think there's three overall skills that truly help you like actually put it into practice and become really powerful. Kevin says he still has my blueprints. Yeah, I made all kinds of things like that. You probably have these swipe files actually, probably too, Kevin. Been using them forever, and I give them out as much as I can because I think they're so useful. So there's three skills here. I'm saying confidence, empathy, and assertiveness, and I'll explain each one. And confidence is key, obviously, because people can feel it. They know, even if it's in writing, they can tell if you're confident in what you have to offer. And I think that comes from practice. But, to get started, think about, I always say, like, treat your audience like your friends. Like, think of it that way. When you're talking to your friend and they tell you they have a problem, you will always, you'll give them advice. And if you are shy about giving advice, you can't be in this case. This is what you're here for, in the business for. But you give them advice. And if you know of a product that would help them, you would not hesitate one tiny bit to tell them to get that product, right? So think of it in that way. Give recommendations and advice freely because that's why they came to you in the first place. And remember, a no is nothing personal. It really isn't. They could be busy. It doesn't sound right to them. They have other things that, that are on their mind, or they have some blocks about something. But the more you talk to them, the more a no is perhaps going to become a yes, not by badgering them and saying, you better get this, but you're giving them different ways to think about their problem, which is part of the content you're sharing and how you warm them up in your community as well. So empathy is also really key, because empathy will mean you can feel your audience. And if it doesn't come naturally to you, you try to do it more intentionally. Because, when you know how to communicate with them persuasively and you understand them, whether it is so much more powerful. I love it when people tell me, they're like, it's like you're reading my mind. It's like the biggest compliment. Like, this is just what I needed. It is so great to hear that because I'm paying attention. Obviously, I don't know what every single individual in my audience wants, but I have an overall feeling from these things, and I'm able to tap into that. What, I think about, I'm paying attention to them, I'm interacting with them, and I'm testing things out. So like when you're trying to do this, whether you're selling or helping, like I'm dividing it into two, but they're the same thing. Because even when you're helping, you're selling, because you're still, you're teaching them things that are going to help them solve their problem. And ultimately it culminates in them using your product, signing up for your course. But, when you're paying attention to them, what do they talk about? What are their problems? What makes them mad? What makes them sad? What makes them happy? How do they handle their problems? We all handle them differently, and you'll find like your audience, clearly has a certain type of need that, maybe they're not getting. What do they spend their money on? And as you observe them, engage them in these conversations to learn about more deeply about these things, which is why having that community is important, and why it's important to have your mailing list where you are promoting more directly. Having those people in your community is important because you'll get to know them better there in the community. And then you need to test out what you think you've learned from them by creating content and selling products to them, and then build on what you learned from there. And then we have assertiveness as the third thing. And it's what brings us all to one level, but it can't stand on its own. Like, it can't just be assertive and not have empathy, because these, and the confidence and assertiveness sort of go together, but they're slightly different. But this allows you to express your confidence and understanding of others when you're assertive, right? And you put it all out there in a way that is persuasive to your audience. Some people are actually assertive, right? But they lack empathy. And you can see this. So you'll notice it, that people, they come across as pushy. If they're confident and assertive, it'll feel pushy to you. But if maybe they have empathy and assertiveness, or just assertiveness on its own, and then they appear desperate. You don't want that. You need all three pieces to make it work well. And assertiveness also comes from practice. So keep sharing, keep learning. The process really never stops, but it's so rewarding. The more you understand your audience, the more you're helping them, the more you're selling, like it all becomes this amazing, wonderful thing.